Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional free webinar. I would like to thank all of you who joined with us and please stay connected with us till the end. My dear lovely audience, today I'm your inviter, myself Nasreen, and I'm from Bangladesh. Dear audience, I'm proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored, also privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professionals free webinar. Once again, thank you all of you for joining us in this lovely morning. My dear lovely audience, my humble request to all of you, please share this webinar in your timeline, and you can also tag your friends, your family member, your familiar person, your colleagues also. And you can also mention and tag in our comment box too. My request to all of you, please give a thumbs up to our Facebook page and please also subscribe our YouTube channels. My dear lovely audience, so let's watch together and learn together because we believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge, not holding it. So once again, I'm your host Nisha in IGP from Bangladesh, welcoming all of you. Dear audience, every day we have new participants who join with us from different nations, different time zones in our webinar. So let me give you some concept about IGP. Institution of Global Professionals serves students and community resource, providing holistic social work and education for create a profession generation. IGP also leading on online skill development is learner worldwide. We make it get able to use for every knowledge seeker to originate personality, more ambitious, make confident to face any circumstance and develop own skills power of international recognition. Institution of Global Professionals is an educational institution provides social work. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skills just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate profession generation all over the world. We organized our webinar training offline, online, provide social our with coaches from all over the world and all over the world trained speaker for all over the world our to our participants. So we create a best learning platform for all of you. Our mission is empower people and enhance. We have already completed our webinar number 517 and today I'm presenting webinar number 518. So before invite our speaker, let me tell you once again, don't forget to share and mention your friends, your familiar person in our comment box. And don't forget to tag them, please, and let them know about this webinar. Dear participants, let's welcome our organizers. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. So allow me first to share my screen so that I can start my presentation. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
In this presentation. Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay, you can see it. Okay. So thank you so much for the response. So hello, good day to everyone. Okay, so thank you for having me here. So I'm Dr. Emmanuel Botong, and I'll be the presenter for this news session. Okay, so my topic actually focuses on the guidelines in crafting the visual brand identity asset. Now, this webinar is actually meant to give you a brief overview of how to prepare and package your deliverables, okay, for a brand identity project. So we'll start off by understanding first the concept of branding and knowing, okay, what is brand identity assets, and even covering things like the differences between the logo, branding, and identity. So I walk you through later on the basic elements, okay, that you need to prepare for the brand book, okay, and how it's supposed to be presented. Okay, so later on, we're going to cover things like presenting the final logo, developing color, and some typography style guide through the brand book. So if you're ready, okay, let's begin by going through the concepts of branding and how it's important, okay, for the new generation of marketers. Okay, now let's start first with the concept of branding. Okay, now branding is actually one of the terms that tends to carry many definitions along with it. Okay, so some people generally attribute branding to a logo, to others, okay, it's an identity, and to some, it's actually a product or service. Okay, but let's try to clear the air and reestablish what branding really is. Okay, so a brand is an emotional experience. Okay, so it's actually a person's perception about your product, service, or company. Now, branding is actually about embedding what makes you unique in the mind of others. So when a loyal customers recalls your brand, okay, it's generally tied to a feeling in their mind. Okay, so there's an association there, and as a marketer, it's actually our responsibility to not only create that association but to manage as well. Okay, so just think about it. Okay, everything we smell, see, touch, or hear and do becomes associated with a memory in our mind, right? So branding is about making sure, okay, that when a customer sees your logo or walks with your establishment or even receives an advertisement, that this connection in their brains aligns with what makes you unique. Okay, so it's genuinely important that it aligns, okay, with associations that create the sense of who you are, what you are selling, and why they want it. So don't worry, we'll go through this concept as we move forward with our presentation. Okay, so now let's talk about the brand identity assets. Okay, so when we talk about the brand identity assets in corporate branding, this refers to the distinguishing elements that recognize the company or brand's identity. So generally, this includes the brand logo, the slogans, your taglines, your color schemes, symbols, typography, and those brand tones, among others. Okay, so you have to take note that these elements become brand assets only only when customers associated them with the brand. So if an element leads to the audience to a very different but similar brand, the element is not considered as an asset. So it's really impossible for a brand element to turn into an asset without some effort on the marketer's part. So similarly, you won't be able to use your assets correctly if you can't identify which elements uh, works best generally, which is the job of the marketing creative, okay, on a corporate level. Okay, now in dealing with the brand identity assets, most people think that the graphic artists, okay, or creative professionals in general are the sole responsible for creating the brand elements, okay? But in reality, creative professionals also consult and collaborate with the marketing professionals, okay, to make an outstanding brand for a product or a company. So by building a powerful brand, okay, you'll have crafted a powerful marketing platform. So generally, a good brand makes selling a lot easier, right? So this process actually is called the creative marketing. So creative marketing is the process of selling and promoting goods and services, combining marketing principles and creative talent in the areas of art and design, such as the vector graphics, photography, videography, animation, music, okay, calligraphy, and of course, architecture. Okay, now let's try to take a look at this Venn diagram. Okay, this is actually a Venn diagram for creative marketing. Now, in conceptual, generally, um, now in conceptualizing, okay, the brand of company or a product, okay, marketing professionals are the one who's responsible, okay, who's generally responsible for creating or assigning a particular tone, okay, in the company, okay, and they're actually also responsible for conceptualizing the personality of the brand by applying the principles, okay, of marketing through the brand management and integrated marketing communication. So generally, marketers set guidelines, okay, for the overall feel of the brand. Now, the expertise of the marketers is generally essential, okay, to the creative professional when they try to materialize, okay, what kind of brand, okay, they want to portray. The creative professional generally are also responsible for drafting and finishing, okay, the marketer's requirements generally for the brand identity guidelines. So this output is called the brand book, okay, which generally presents the visual brand identity assets for the brand. Okay, so before I walk you through the brand identity asset, okay, let's try to elaborate the difference between the logo, okay, the identity, and of course, the branding. Okay, so now let's start first by identifying, okay, or by defining, okay, what is a brand logo, okay? So a brand logo is actually anything that serves, okay, as a company representation. So it may take the form of a graphic mark, okay, an abstract, okay, symbol, an emblem, or a stylized version of a name used to identify a company, organization, product, or brand. Now, let's talk about brand identity. So when we talk about brand identity, this is anything that builds up upon the logo. Okay, so this includes the materials like the websites, the business cards, okay, the merchandise, okay, letterheads, okay, and other marketing collaterals of the business. Now, when we talk about branding, as we discussed earlier, okay, branding is the overall, okay, brand experience incorporating the brand logo and the brand identity. So brands can take on a life of their own, okay, almost to the point that they seem like a person, okay, and just like us, okay, they can have their own unique personality or a brand persona. So generally, it's a set of human-like characteristics, okay, that your customers would expect from someone who keeps this promise, okay? So remember, each company has their own tagline, each company has their own slogan, and that slogan represents the consumer's promise, okay? So these personas help your target audience better understand your brand. So brands with the personality stand out, okay, we tend to like them more as a consumer, and most importantly, we want to maintain a relationship, okay, with them. So the branding generally covers, okay, the brand value, the brand personality, and the brand expectations, okay, of consumers. Now, let's take a look at this example, okay, to visualize what I'm talking about. Okay, so as you can see there, okay, this is an example of a logo. Okay, now, if you're like most people, okay, these two curved lines generally reminded you of the golden arches of McDonald's, right? So even people who don't go to McDonald's will instantly associate this with the company. Although the logo design is actually just one small subset of branding, it still remains the centerpiece of the most branding schemes. And we all know for a fact that it's often the part, okay, of a new identity that is most picked apart by the public. So in this case, this symbol, okay, the golden arches, okay, can already cause you to recall a global billion-dollar fast food chain, which implies brand recognition. Now, let's try to take a look at the applications of the logo to the McDonald's merchandise. Okay, so as you can see, the logo is embedded with the marketing merchandise of McDonald's using its product packaging. Now, the application of the logo to the merchandise or any marketing collaterals are called the brand identity. Okay, so moving forward, okay, the things that comes into your mind, okay, when you see and feel the brand is actually what we call the branding. And as I said earlier, a brand is a promise, okay? It's actually a promise, okay, that the company makes to the consumers when they do business with you, okay? So the words convenience, okay, fast food, quick, happy, okay, Happy Meal, burgers, okay, fries, okay, Ronald McDonald's, okay, those are the words that are now associated with McDonald's brand, okay, and that's actually the goal of creating a brand identity assets, okay, to make a consistent brand for your product or company. Okay, now um, every marketing creative generally goes to a creative process. Okay, so as you can see in the slide, okay, the first step in the creative process is to generally define the problem and the problem objective. Is the goal about building a brand from scratch, or is it about rebranding a project? Okay, so generally, a single solution can have multiple goals, and that's okay in creative marketing because the key is to start identifying okay the project's requirements to continue the creative process using a creative brief. Okay, so now, what is creative brief anyway? So a creative brief is actually a document, okay, used to outline the deliverables of creative project. So it generally contains details, including the project overview, okay, the project requirements, target audience, okay, messaging, okay, project timeline, and project budget. Okay, so this is actually developed in the project initiation phase. So a creative brief, okay, will generally help the creative team better understand a project from the start and may be presented to the key stakeholders. Remember, if you will be a consultant, okay, on a particular company, okay, you might want to bring a creative brief because in order for you to understand what exactly they want, okay, the creative brief will help you identify the general scope of your project and at the same time what the company wants to do, okay, with their branding. Okay, so collecting information, okay, and research are generally essential for creative marketers, okay, to get the feel of what the product or the business is actually all about. Okay, so once we banded with the idea of data gathering, now we have to decide what data is worth gathering. Okay, so the reality is that this process is generally messy. Okay, because you're going to do a lot of brainstorming, but not all data you'll gather will generally be relevant to you, okay, when it comes to developing the brand, okay, but generally this is a natural part of the process for creative marketing, so don't be afraid of adding, subtracting, okay, any ideas, okay, about creating the right brand for your company or for your product alone. Okay, so to begin your data gathering, generally creative marketers ask these questions like, what is the nature of the business or product? Okay, so what are the keywords, okay, that the business want for their brand? So maybe in generally in the creative process, we normally use hashtag. Okay, so for example, if we try to recall KFC, okay, as a brand, okay, the first thing that comes into our mind are chicken. Okay, we think about food. We think about rooster. Okay, we think about again chicken. Okay, we think about fried chicken. We think about burgers. Okay, so this uh, hashtags or keywords generally will help you to materialize the kind of logo that you want to create for your own company. Okay, so sometimes we or more often than not, actually, okay, we ask ourselves as well, what is the personality of the brand that they want to portray? So as a company, they want to have a certain tone. They want to have a personality. So before creating a logo, you might as well ask them, okay, what kind of logo do they want? Do they want a very bold type of logo? Do they want a very jolly type of logo? Do they want a logo that has a personality of being stubborn or being young or being old or being established? So you have to identify the kind of personality that the brand wants to. And of course, we also have to ask ourselves, what are the limitations, okay, for the deliverables? Are they actually asking about rebranding in terms of the name of the brand? Are they referring to the overall change of branding? Are they just trying to request for the supplies of digital assets? So those are the things that you have to identify, okay, in order for you to go through with the creative process. So after understanding the overall feel of the brand, you may now present your ideas through a design that could actually serves, okay, an inspiration for your brand identity assets. Okay, so once you finish this process, you could actually present your initial proposal to the team and conduct brand brainstorming for the proposal. So you have to get the feedback of the team as well, okay, and improve on your design according to their insights. Okay, remember, in creative process, you're a team. Okay, so you have to coordinate with the creative team, with your team members, in order for you to brainstorm, okay, the best version of logo or branding that you could actually do for your clients. So you will repeat this process until you are ready to share the project to your team for the brand application. Okay. Now, generally for in creating the brand identity assets, we normally have three major fundamental components. Okay, we have the logo, we have the color, and of course the typography. So let's start first with the logo. Okay, so the logo is actually the first business point of contact. Okay, uh, with the outside world generally. Okay, so if people connect with your branding, the likelihood is they'll be more open to whatever is offering to them. Okay, so great logo design requires a complex mixture of design skills, creative theory, and skillful application when it comes to marketing. So in crafting the logo, I'm going to show you the basic consideration and tips, okay, on the things you need to consider for the logo development. Okay. Now, in this presentation, you can see that there are four basic type of logo that you have to know. Okay. So the four brand logos that you can see in my presentation represents the different logo types. Okay. So we have here the Coca-Cola script, the IBM alphabet, okay, the Microsoft icon, and of course, the logo of the University of the Philippines. Okay. Now, let's try to talk about the abstract logo. Okay. So when we talk about the abstract logo, they simply mean that the product or service is being represented through an abstract symbol or an icon. So abstract logo designs are also famous among numerous organizations as they offer a unique style to the business that generally catch attention of the customers quite easily. Okay, so most abstract logos, okay, are illustrated using vector graphic. Oh, by the way, a vector graphic is a digital graphics, okay, that is made out of points, lines, and curves that are based upon a mathematical equation, okay, rather than a solid colored square pixels. So this means that no matter how large or small or how close you zoom in, okay, on the image or of the logo itself, the lines, the curves, and the points generally remain smooth. Okay, so this is not so generally in creative marketing we're utilizing vector so that it won't be pixelated once extracted from that particular file. So vector graphics is being used, okay, in graphics design to avoid pixelated graphics when the logo is printed. Okay, now let's take a look at the examples of abstract logos from different brands. Okay, now we have here, okay, the popular icon of Twitter and the swoosh symbol of Nike. Okay, so we also have here the famous icon of Apple. As you all know, Apple company is an electronic company, right? But how come they didn't use a non-electronic symbol for their logo and settle for an apple? Okay, so take note that every logo has a story. And if I may retell the story, the Apple logo actually came from the idea of Newton's apple that is related to math. Okay, so the first logo of Apple computer isn't actually an apple icon, but an illustration that includes Isaac Newton, okay, a mathematician and a scientist reading a book under a tree, okay, that has an apple that is about to fall. So there's actually is, okay, that's actually the story of the Apple logo. Okay, so as the Apple actually progress, okay, they decide to have a very minimalistic logo. That's why the abstract logo of Apple created. So we have here the abstract as well of the Worldwide Fund. Okay, so the way the abstract was created, as you can see, the panda, okay, is very beautiful. Okay, as it uses a negative space for an illustration, just like the logo of the Spotify on the right side, right? So negative space logos are logos that creatively use white space within an image or letter, okay, to create a whole new image. Okay, so those are the examples of an abstract logo. Now, let's move forward with the Lettermark logo. Okay, so think Lettermark logo as a monogram for your business. Okay, so a lettermark, okay, is entirely text, but rather than the entire name of a business. Okay, so the logo relies generally on the initials to represent the brand. So letter marks, okay, can be a simple monogram or an anagram. So IBM is an example of a monogram lettermark logo, which actually uses its initial, okay, letters of the company's full name. Okay, so IBM generally stands for International Business Machines. Okay, which creates its lettermark logo. Now we also have here, okay, the KFC, which stands for the Kentucky Fried Chicken, the LV for Louis Vuitton, okay, the EA for Electronic Arts, okay, so BDO stands for Banco de Oro, PNG is actually for Procter and Gamble, H&M is for Haynes and Moritz, okay, and lastly, the CNN stands for the Cable News Network. Okay, now let's take a look at the wordmark logo. Okay, so a wordmark logo is a font-based logo that focuses on a business name. Okay, so typically, this type of logo relies on text, typeface, and unique typographic treatment to express the brand's identity. Okay, so because there are no graphic elements to convey messaging, the text, okay, in the logo is often exactly literal, stating the name of the company and sometimes even what it does. Okay, now if you're going to take a look at the wordmark logo, okay, it's literally defining, okay, or identifying the name of the company, such as the Subway, eBay, okay, Samsung, okay, Visa, FedEx, and whatnot. Okay, so that's what we call the wordmark logo. Okay, now moving forward, we have here the last but not the least, we have here the emblem logo. So an emblem logo consists of font inside the symbol or an icon. So think about the badges, the seals, and crests. Okay, so these logos tends to have a traditional appearance about them that can make a striking impact, and thus they're actually often the go choice, okay, or the go-to choice for many schools, organizations, or government agencies because of its striking impact. Okay, so as you can see, most of the universities uses emblem logo because it creates a traditional appearance that this institution is already old. This institution is already established years ago. Okay, that's why emblem logo is very famous for most organizations, not just universities but also governments and non-government organizations. Okay, so some of the examples of emblem logo includes we have here the Mavericks, okay, that's a team, okay, the League of Legends, okay, the BMW, okay, we have NASA, okay, University of the Philippines, and whatnot. Okay, so those are the four major types of logo that you could actually create for your own for your business or for your clients. Okay, now uh, generally, since there are four major logos, sometimes as a creative marketer, we sometimes quite confused about what the company is actually looking for when it comes to the very specifics in terms of their design. So even though we're actually providing them the kind of logo that we want, okay, such as the word mark, the abstract, okay, the letter mark, okay, sometimes companies are still confused. That's why we sometimes provide them a logo design brief. Okay, so uh, generally, okay, if you're confused as a marketer, okay, when the clients ask you or when the company tells you that they want their logo to be modern, simple, or luxurious, okay, it's quite confusing, right? And we cannot generally have a tangible idea about what they're trying to say. So this handy infographic guide that was created by Pascual, it's actually a logo designer, okay, that created, okay, this design brief to illustrate, okay, and explain the common terms that is used in logo design brief using a bird design. So as you can see in the design, okay, the chart features the bird logos design in different styles. So we have here the young, modern, and feminine with their visual opposites on the other side, which is mature, classic, and masculine. Okay, so this is the way on how we will ask our clients, okay, so that we can have we will actually create the branding on the same train, okay, or on the same thought. Now, those are the general guidelines, okay, that you must know as a marketer for the logo creation. Now, let's move forward with typography, okay? Now, typography is actually the art of arranging letters and text in a way that makes the copy legible, clear, and visually appealing to the reader, okay? So, typography typically involves identifying the font style, the appearance, okay, the structure, which generally aims to elicit certain emotions and convey specific messages. Okay, so typography is an essential element to the brand as the audience gets an impression about your message from it. Okay, uh, even before, okay, they begin to read it. Okay, so for example, okay, so the type can appear to be friendly or aggressive, right? So it could actually suggest a traditional or a modern approach. It could also look feminine, or the text could actually look feminine or masculine. The text could actually look calm or chaotic. Okay, so as a creative marketer, you want to choose a style that best expresses the impression, okay, uh, or the message that you want to send to the audience. Okay? So when typography is used, okay, generally if you use it well, okay, and does its job, okay, a positive impression is actually made easily at a glance, right? So when we see these types of uh, typography artists, we already absorbing key information about the content of that particular font. Okay? So in general essence, typography is what brings, okay, the text to life. Okay, so the right typography design does many important things. Okay, so and well, it's established a strong visual hierarchy as well, and it makes the design look aesthetic and pleasing. It also optimize readability. Okay, it reinforce the message of the text. Okay, and it actually hold the attention of the readers. Okay, not to mention that typography also contributes in building brand recognition. Okay, now, as a marketing creative, okay, you need to understand the basic concept of typography, and one of which is the difference between a typeface and the font. Okay, so the main difference, okay, between these two terms is that a typeface or type family, okay, is the name of specific collection of related fonts. So for those for teachers, sometimes they call typeface as fonts, but there's really a key difference about it. Okay, so in comparison, okay, font refers to a particular weight, width, or style within that particular typeface. Okay, so to put it simple, okay, each variation of typeface is a font. Okay, so for example, Arial would be considered as typeface, And once you choose Arial to be the typeface for your chosen project, okay, the actual font, okay, in use might be Arial Black, Arial Light, or Arial Narrow. Okay, so those are the examples of font. Okay, so there's actually a style, okay, within that particular typeface. Okay, so again, okay, for future reference, okay, for teachers, if you want to be very specific about the format, maybe on your research, okay, or maybe on your activities, okay, call it typeface, okay, or maybe you can use font style as well if you want to include a style on the kind of typeface that you're actually instructing to the students. Okay, now um now let's try to look at the two major types of letter forms. Okay, so we have here the serif and the sans serif. Okay, now let's take a look at their differences. Okay, so the small features on the ends of stroke in some fonts are actually known as serif. Okay, so some common serif typeface are actually Times New Roman, Georgia, Courier, okay, Palatino, and Constantia. Okay, generally, um, serif fonts are easily readable at small body copy sizes. Okay, so there are many exemptions to this, but that is actually a common usage of serif fonts. Okay, so one major exemption actually is web. Okay, since most displayed are not actually a high resolution as printed media, serifs could actually display poorly at small sizes. Okay, so this is, well, it's okay because this is becoming less of an issue with the improvements in technologies like retina displays and 4K screens, okay, becoming popular right now. Okay, but the vast majority of displays are still low resolution when compared to print. Okay, so on in general essence, when we talk about serif, this is applicable for the body copy sizes. Okay, so if you want to use serif fonts, okay, for the paragraph, for the sentence, this would be ideal. Okay, so some of the applications of serif includes you could actually use the different serif font letter forms in magazines, okay, books and newspapers, as seen in the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, now we also have what we call the sans serif. Okay, so sans serif is actually one that does not have a small projecting features called serif at the end of the strokes. Okay, so the term comes from the French word sans, okay, which means without. So sans serif means without serif. Okay, so common typeface for sans serif includes Century Gothic, Arial, Helvetica, Futura, and Franklin Gothic. Now, sans serif, okay, tend to have less line with variation than sans font or than serif font. Okay, so in print, okay, sans serif fonts are actually used for headlines, okay, rather than for body text. Okay, so in print, okay, sans serif fonts are used for headlines rather than for body text. Okay, so the conventional wisdom holds that the serif generally help the eye along the lines of a large block of text. Okay, so sans serif fonts have become a great display of text on the computer screens, as you can see in the presentation. Okay, so this is partly because screens have shown twittering on the fine detail of the horizontal serif. Okay, now let's try to take a look at the anatomy of typography. Okay, I hope you're not that overwhelmed yet. Okay, since we're still gonna discuss later on the color theory, which is a major component for the brand identity assets. Okay, so as you can see in the presentation, the anatomy of typography is an area of study that gives you basic knowledge of letters and their integral parts. Okay, it also helps to educate your eye to recognize the underlying structure of various designs. So as a marketing creative, you do not need to go through the nitty-gritty of the typography concepts, but understanding the fundamental principles and concepts behind typography could actually help you to improve your artistic side of choosing the right typeface for your brand. Now, allow me to show you the importance of typeface and fonts, okay, through typography psychology. Okay, so let's try to take a look at this case study. So as you can see in the presentation, typeface or font and fonts matter. So as you can see, if you're going to focus alone on the text, okay, which creates the term "you'll always be mine," okay, that can be associated with a positive statement, right? So generally, even though the content itself has a positive connotation, there can be changes, especially when it comes to your choice of typeface. Okay, so if you're going to take a look at the upper illustration, it actually uses a cursive typography. So since it's actually a cursive typeface, it generally relates to a personal touch. Okay, so it's calligraphy, right? So since it is calligraphy, it relates to let's say customization of a particular human or customization of a person. So if the word "you'll always be mine" is actually created or is actually written using cursive, this will result to a very romantic statement or a very positive feeling. Okay. However, if we chose to have a wrong type of typeface, okay, which actually represents the lower side of the illustration, the term the word itself or the text itself has a good intention, but choosing the wrong typeface will actually reflect a very creepy, okay, and a very negative connotation when it comes to what you're saying. So this kind of example or this kind of personal example is a good case study for typography psychology. So on the personal level, if you find the first illustration as a very romantic touch, while the second illustration below represents a very creepy message and and it has a negative connotations, then the typography psychology works on you. So on a personal level, if this works on you, definitely the brand could actually take advantage on this typography psychology in order for them to attract, okay, the right audience, okay, for their market. Okay. Now, another application of typography is the easier recognition and the relativeness of the typeface from the nature of the company. Okay, so in this case study, okay, you can see a marketing merchandise coming from a law firm. Okay, so a law firm, as you all know, can be described as a business that handles a very serious legal matter. And the typeface consideration should portray this element. Remember, the personality should be serious and firm, right? So on the first illustration, the typeface preference is actually not applicable, okay, to the law firms as it conveys an artistic message. Okay, so on the second illustration below, okay, the creative typeface generally represents geometric designs, and this might misrepresent the nature of the business of a law firm. Okay, so the geometric design kind of typeface are actually a good work mark that can be interpreted and or that can be applied in design school, architectural firm, and other related business that relates to geometric design. So if you're going to create a word mark, okay, a word mark logo for your law firm, you have to make sure that it is a very serious and it is a simple one, okay, so that it won't represent any feeling, okay, on the side of the audience. Imagine creating a law firm or using the first illustration, so looks like a joke, or the logo or the company is not being serious about what they're offering. Okay, on the second illustration below, okay, it generally misrepresents the company, like maybe it's an art school or maybe it's a design firm, okay, which is not. We are a legal firm. That's why, as much as possible, we have to choose the right typography for our business. Okay, so you're gonna love the next case study. Okay, now the art of typography also considers the size of the type, also known as the font size. Okay, so you can make a soothing reading atmosphere and mood by artistically placing the right type in the right place at the right size in the layout. So in the paper, okay, there is actually so much to read. Okay, but the reader mostly doesn't have much time to read word by word. So this font size generally help them to focus on the most important part of the paper. Okay, so if you're going to look at the illustration, the size of the type can manipulate the audience in reading the phrases according to their desired sequence. So as you can see there, you're gonna read first the bigger font size, then you're going to read the secondary font size, the second largest font size, and then you're gonna read next below the text below it, and then afterwards you're going to read. Okay, it was specifically placed, okay, the small text on the upper left side of the illustration so that you will read that last. Okay, so in creating a poster, in creating brochures, okay, or any marketing merchandise that relates to a certain imagery, and text, okay, the applications of typography will really help you, okay, to portray what you meant, okay, or what you really want tell, okay, to tell to the audience. Okay, so that's the application of um, typography. Okay, so anyway, those are just basic applications of typography. Anyway, okay, so the last but not the least major component of the brand identity asset is what we call the color. Okay, so as you all know, color is actually one of the most important elements for the brand identity. It's actually the key in producing a good identity of the brand, right? So colors are more like, well, they're more than just visual aid, as it conveys emotion, feelings, and experiences of a brand. Now, understanding how color is to be used within a brand is actually something very important because of the fact that, well, color is really the thing that people see when they think about the brand, right? So if you think about brand like Coca-Cola, the first color that comes into your mind is color red. Okay, when you think about Pepsi, you think about red and blue. When you think Apple, you think white, black, and silver. Okay, so generally, once you think a particular logo, once you think a particular brand, it generally associates that brand to a particular color. So all of those different colors evoke certain emotions, but they also instantly make you recognize a certain brand or a company. Okay, and so color in itself is actually probably one of the most important aspect of brand identity package. Okay, that you really have to do, okay, in doing the brand identity assets. Okay, so it's very important for you guys to choose a brand color accurately and consistently, and define how it is supposed to be used and where they're supposed to uh, be used. Okay, so now let's take a look at the color theory here. Okay, so as you can see in the illustration, a color theory is a guidance, okay, to color mixing and the visual effect of a specific color combination. So color theory is both the science and art of using color. It generally explains how human perceive color and the visual effects of how colors mix, match, or contrast with each other. Okay, so color theory also involves the messages colors communication and the method used to replicate the color. Now, one of the illustrations of a good color theory that you're actually familiar with is what we call the color wheel. Okay, so a color wheel generally shows you how colors relate to each other and visually demonstrate the relationship between the primary, secondary, and the tertiary colors. Okay, so the primary color actually is actually known as the basic color, such as the RYB, right? Or the red, yellow, and blue. So if you combine the two basic colors like red and yellow, we could actually form a new color through a secondary color. Okay, so red plus yellow is equal to orange, right? So orange, okay, is actually part of the secondary color. It's actually a mixture of two primary colors. So as I said earlier, to put it simple, the secondary colors are created by combining the primary colors. Okay, so tertiary color is actually created when the secondary color, such as the orange, is actually combined with the nearest primary color in the well. Okay, so for example, if we combine orange, which is a secondary color, and a yellow, which is a primary color, we could actually get yellow-orange color, which can be considered as tertiary color. Okay, now in graphics design, there are actually several color mixing models that they use, okay, in preparing the color scheme, okay, of the brand. Okay, but in this webinar, I'm going to introduce to you the two major color mixing models. Okay, we have here the RGB color model and the CMYK color model. Okay, so the RGB mixing model stands for red, green, and blue, which is also known as the additive color mixing model. Okay, so the additive color mixing model generally allows you, okay, to create colors by mixing red, green, and blue light sources of various intensities. So the more light you add, okay, the brighter the color mix becomes. So in theory or in application, if you mix all three colors of light, you get pure white light. So that's RGB. So TV screens and projectors generally use red, green, and blue as their primary colors. So the RGB color are generally ideal in preparing digital arts. Okay. Now, on the other hand, we have here what we call the CMYK model. Okay. So the CMYK model is the primary colors of pigment. Okay. So the model is known as the subtractive color mixing model that includes C stands for cyan, we have magenta, yellow, and K stands for black. Okay, so in this case, subtractive, okay, or deduction simply refers to the fact that you subtract the light from the paper by adding more color. So this color model are actually used in print works. Okay, so if you decided to print a full color leaflet, okay, or brochure for your brand, you expect that the printer is actually going to get those colors right. Okay, so using the CMYK color will help you to achieve accurate reproduction since printing uses the subtractive color mixing method. Again, for the RGB, this is applicable for digital designs. For CMYK model, this is applicable for prints. Okay, now, okay, in color theory, there are some there are basic elements or concepts that you have to learn. Okay, so in this presentation, you're going to learn the differences between the tints, shades, and tones. Okay, the tints, okay, tones and shades are variations of what we call hue. Okay, so the hue means pure color, okay, or any color, okay, that can be seen on the color wheel. So a tint is actually a hue to which white has been added. A shade is a hue to which black has been added. Eh, and a tone is actually a color to which black and white, okay, or gray have been added. Okay, so generally this darkens the original hue while making the color appear more subtle and less intense. So if you're actually a fan of using, let's say, the Lightroom, okay, you're fan of using the Snapseed application for your photo editing, okay, you're going to encounter this color elements. Okay, so for your future reference, if you want to generally increase, okay, the black color in the illustration, okay, just increase the shade. Okay, so if you want to increase that the lightness of the illustration, then you can use the tint. Okay, so applying tints, okay, shades and tones to the hue or color could actually help you to combine a desirable intensity for your brand color. Okay, now moving forward, okay, I know this there's a lot of concepts in color theory, but let me just choose, okay, selected theories, okay, with the application of creative marketing. Okay, so now let's talk about the color schemes. Okay, so the color schemes, okay, are the color combination used in various artistic and design contexts for marketing collaterals. So if you're able to use the color schemes creatively and correctly, colors, okay, can reflect the niche and even the overall business marketing strategy. Okay, so let's try to take a look at the different or the basic color schemes, okay, in color theory. We have here what we call the monochromatic scheme. So the monochromatic colors are all the colors of a single hue. Okay? So monochromatic color scheme are derived from a single base hue and extended its shades, tones, and tints. So generally, it provides a subtle and conservative color combination. Okay? So this is actually a versatile color combination that is easy to apply, okay, to the design projects for harmonious look. Okay, so think of it as one single color that has multiple tones, tints, and shades because we're just practically adding black, white, gray, etc. for monochromatic scheme. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one. Okay, we have here what we call the analogous colors. Okay, so analogous colors are color adjacent to each other on the color wheel, as you can see in the illustration. Okay, so when creating an analogous color scheme, one color will dominate and two colors will generally serve as a color support and color accent. So in business, analogous color schemes are not only pleasing to the eye, but can effectively instruct the consumer where and how to take action on their needs. Okay, so that's analogous color. Okay, the next one is what we call complementary colors. Okay, so complementary colors are generally opposite on the color wheel, such as the red and green color. So because there's a sharp contrast between the two colors, they could actually really make an imagery pop. Okay, but you have to make sure that not to overuse this particular combination, as this color combination can get tiresome if overused. Okay, so that being said, using a complementary color scheme, okay, in your business marketing generally offers a sharp contrast and clear differentiation between image. That's why in terms of discounts, they're utilizing red. For positive number, they're utilizing green colors. Okay, so if we're going to combine this one, this will generally clash and creates a very contrasting and sharp color. Okay, so that's complementary colors. Okay, now we have here what we call the triadic color. Okay, so triadic color are evenly spaced, forming a perfect triangle on the wheel. Okay, as you can see in the illustration. So this color scheme tend to be very bright and dynamic. Okay, so using a triadic color scheme, okay, in your marketing generally, it creates visual contrast, okay, and even harmony simultaneously, making each item stand out while making the overall image pop up. Okay, so the two most basic triadic palettes are the primary colors red, blue, and yellow, and the secondary hues like orange, purple, and green. Okay, so that's triadic color. Okay, and lastly, we have here the tetradic tetradic color scheme. Okay, so the rectangle or the tetradic color scheme, okay, generally uses four colors arranged into two complementary parts, okay, or two complementary pairs. So it chooses two opposing sets of the complementary colors. So this color scheme offers plenty of possibilities for variation. So the tetradic color scheme works best if you let one color be dominant and the rest can be considered like accent, okay, or secondary colors in general. Okay, so as you can see in the color theory, there's a lot of concepts that you have to consider before combining all those colors for your visual brand identity asset. But more often than not, okay, your choice of color can make or break a logo design, partly for simple aesthetic reasons, but also because of psychological associations of colors. Okay, so in branding, color holds power. Okay, it can actually impact our moods, emotions, and behaviors. It can also be source of information. So while an individual response to color can stem from personal experience, the science of color, along with color psychology, supports the idea that there's far more to it. So color theory or applying color theory actually isn't just about aesthetics. It's also about color psychology. Okay. So later on in the next slide, okay, we're going to explore the color symbolism that is associated with the colors. So as you can see in the illustration, it was generalized, but we'll try to apply that. Okay, we'll try to discuss that individually. Okay, now let's start first with the red color. Okay, now as you can see in the logos, red is actually associated with excitement. Okay? So it also symbolizes the feeling of love, being aggressive and bold. Okay? And it generally represents passion. Okay? So in business marketing, red represents appetite. Okay? So the color red is actually best for restaurants as it also symbolizes the sense of urgency. Uh, in the Philippines, as you can see, there's a lot of quick service restaurants that utilizes red because it represents appetite. Okay, so this is also the reason why most sales promotions are presented in red color because it is associated with excitement. Okay, so another color is the orange. Okay, so for the orange logos, generally orange translate to a friendly and bubbly feeling. Okay, so orange symbolizes that the idea of being cheerful, playful, and fun. Okay, so it also represents confidence and vitality. Okay, that's why if we're going to take a look at the logos, we have here the Nickelodeon, we have Fanta. Okay, so because they want to portray a bubbly feeling, a very energetic feeling. So orange is associated as well with enthusiasm. Okay, because orange is the happiest color of the wheel. Okay, so this color is best for impulse buying platforms such as the e-commerce dropshipping, and this color is also great for creative industries. Okay, so that's orange. Okay, now moving forward. Okay, we also have here yellow. Okay, for yellow, it promotes positivity. Okay, it symbolizes optimism, creativity, a warm feeling, and motivation. So generally, yellow is actually best for service industries as it attracts an inviting feeling. Okay, now for green, okay, green symbolizes nature. Okay, so it represents growth, fresh feeling, serenity, cleanliness, okay, and peace. Okay, so green color is also associated with health and wealth. Okay, so this color is best for environmentally friendly companies as it gives a calming effect to people. So this is actually great for retail and service outlets. Okay, now we also have the blue color. Okay, so blue generally symbolizes trustworthiness. Okay, so this color gives a sense of security to people. Okay, so blue is associated with loyalty and wisdoms as well. So since it represents or it symbolizes trustworthiness and security, the color blue is actually best for corporate business. At they actually attracts calmness and tranquility. So if we're going to look at the different financial firms here in the Philippines, the logo are actually blue. Okay, this is also ideal as well in airlines and medical practices because of the association of trustworthiness and security. Okay, now we also have the purple. Okay, for purple, okay, it symbolizes royalty and mystery. Okay, so purple is also associated with the word wisdom, imagination, and nostalgia. Okay, it's even associated with luxury as well. Okay, so the vibe of a purple color gives a respectful feeling. So in business, okay, this color is best for beauty and anti-aging products, and even to a luxurious brands. Okay, now we have here the brown. Okay, so the brown color, okay, represents strength and masculinity. So it generally symbolizes, okay, durability and resilience. Okay, so this color is good for brewery companies, coffee shops, and chocolates. Okay, so the black is actually authoritative and powerful shade. So it symbolizes luxury and it's best for art, music, and fashion brands. So this is also great for electronic products, and it provides a minimalistic, simplistic feeling. Okay, so black represents formality, sense of balance, timeliness. Okay, so those are the necessary things that you have to know for the color theory. Now, let's take a look at the sample brand application for brand identity asset development through a particular brand book. So as you can see here, this is an example of a brand identity asset. Okay, so this is the brand book of my old company. It's Zellery Philippines. It's actually a company focuses on a supply chain when it comes to vegetable dealing, and we're actually expanding right now for e-commerce. Okay, for a farm to table kind of business model. Okay. Now, if you're going to take a look at the coverage of the brand book, it includes the brand story, the brand personality, the brand logo, okay, typography, brand color, okay, photography, and brand application. So for in the interest of time, I think I'm already tag dito, OT. Okay, it's already overtime. Let me just show you some of the inclusions or the um, inclusions of the brand book. Okay, so it includes the brand story overview. Okay, so you have to discuss your company introduction. Okay, about the company and whatnot. Okay, so you can also include the mission and vision so that the marketer who will see the brand book will actually be guided, okay, on the mission and vision of the company. Okay, so you can also include there your products and services. Okay, and of course your tagline. Okay, so in our company, it's fresh, affordable, and convenient. Okay, so you can discuss the story. Okay, and of course, generally, you can also include, okay, the different storyline about your product. But the most important thing here to include for the brand book is the brand personality. Remember, the brand personality reflects the brand values, okay, and it defines the quality of your business. Okay, so if you're going to take a look at this example, there's already a brand personality spectrum. So this will be the guide of the content marketers, okay, the copywriters on how they're going to communicate with their customers in social media, in customer service, etc. Okay, so in our company, okay, it's friendly and personable. So you have to make sure that you're not a very corporate. You're not going to talk, okay, on a very serious tone. Okay, so you have to be friendly, just like angkas, but not really too much on angkas, but it's more on the middle of a very corporate and professional and the angkas kind of personality spectrum. Okay, so this includes the brand personality as well. So generally, when we talk about Zellery, what we try to portray to the clients are we're friendly and sophisticated. We're friendly, but we are sophisticated. Okay, so you can also include here the content marketing guidelines on how you will use, okay, the brand voice. Okay, so this includes the brand values as well. Okay, now you could also look at the brand logo. Okay, so as you can see here, we're applying, okay, the elements that we're using. Okay, so remember, every icon, every element in the logo has its own meaning. Okay, so as you can see here, this is how I created the logo of Zellery. Okay, so aside from the primary logo, of course, you can also utilize secondary logos, alternative word mark, and whatnot. Okay, so these are some of the assets of the logo variations, the safe spaces, okay, the dimensions. Okay, we also have here the logo responsiveness. If your logo isn't actually applicable for a small space, okay, like icons in your phone, okay, you could actually utilize the responsiveness by eliminating some of the logo or some of the elements in the logo, and it can still be responsive and maintains the representation of the brand. Okay, so you can also include the logo guidelines here. Okay, this is applicable if you want to sponsor, so that if they're going to use your logo, okay, the company that will advertise your business will be guided. Okay, so those are the logo guidelines. Okay, so we also look into the typography. So as you can see here, there's a lot of applications in typography. So the primary typeface for Zellery is Kandara. Okay, and we also have the secondary typeface. Okay, so you can also utilize this in different references like display text, word text, taglines, etc. Okay, so we also have here the typography guidelines. Okay, the height. Okay, other typography guidelines. Okay, and we will now proceed with the brand color. So as you can see here, there's actually the core color. It presents the color palette as well, the specifications of RGB, CMY, CYMK, etc. Okay, the color palette as well. Okay, and of course other shades. Okay, that is applicable for the accent of the brand. Okay, so we also have the white and a space gray. Okay, and of course the color guide, brand color guidelines. Okay, some of the inclusions for the brand book includes your guidelines in terms of your photography. Okay, so you can discuss here the overview of your the policy for your interactions. Okay, casting. Okay, and light and color. Okay, so there's really a guideline. Okay, on how to utilize so that you can be very consistent about your branding. Okay, so you can also present here like this. Okay, and we also have photography guidelines here and some brand applications like your merchandise. Okay, so some of the applications for your brand includes the environment like this. Okay, so we have different mockups available there. Okay, for internal designs, stationery like this. Okay, like business cards. Okay, letter forms. Okay, and company manuals. Okay, so we have the certificates as well for your community involvement. Okay, your headings template. Okay, and of course company binders. Okay, company identification card and whatnot. So all of these materials is being applied. Okay, for for your visual brand identity assets. Okay, so this is how you create the brand guidelines in order for your employees and customers to be aware that hey, we exist and we are organized. Remember, in terms of brand psychology, the more that the company is organized when it comes to their branding, the more they will see that the company is reputable and they're gonna associate it with the word trustworthiness. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope you're not too overwhelmed, okay, in creating the brand identity assets. Okay, thank you and have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your presentation with our participants.
Thank you.
Sir, we'll come back once again after our quiz competition session in QA session. So till then, please stay connected with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My dear lovely participants, we will start our quiz competition within a minute. But before, please share this webinar, share this event with your friends, with your familiar person, and your timeline. Also, you can also mention here in our comment box and let people know about this. Welcome to our quiz competition session. My dear lovely audience, you can see the joining link in our comment box, and you can also go to www.slido.com and give the code quiz IGP. Without code, you can't enter. You can also scan the QR code that is showing in our screen. So first, join with us. We already have 11 participants who joined with us. Let me tell their name. Alex Xavier, Lesson, Joel, Ricky, Jogger, Kiefer, Fatunga, Emily, Anna Marie, and the rest of them. We have already 18 participants now. Please share this event in your timeline with your friends and please mention them in our comment box because your sharing, your attachment and your sharing encourage us to do better and give the best service to all of you. Us in this session. Let me tell you once again, you can see the join link in our comment box and you can also go to www.slido.com and give the code that is quiz IGP. And after the quiz competition session, we'll come back in our Q&A session with our speaker. So get ready to ask your question to our honorable speaker. So let's start our program. The first question, what is brand identity? A measure of how loyal consumers are or what the brand is made of and communicates. Let's see the answer. So the correct answer is what the brand is made of and communicates. 78% of majority participants choose the correct answer. Okay, we have lesson Miyandi on first position in our leaderboard. Let's go for our next question. The standard of identity ensures a level accurately reflects what is inside or is recognized as safe to consume. Choose your answer. So the correct answer is ensures a level accurately reflects what is inside. 100% of our participants chosen the correct answer. Congratulations, all of you. Let's see our leaderboard. Okay, we have once again lesson on first position in our leaderboard. Let's go for our next question. Quality circles are useful in job selection and placement or increasing productivity. So the correct answer is increasing productivity. 83% chosen the correct answer. Okay, we have someone new on first position in our leaderboard, that is Cristina V. Del Rosario. Congratulations. Let's go for our question number 4. In dry storage, the humidity should be 50 to 60% or 30 to 40%. Okay, the correct answer is 50 to 60%. 47% choose the correct answer. That's the leaderboard. We have Geraldine on first position in our leaderboard. So let's see our next question. In making decisions, take the following steps. Recognize problem, gather data, choose solution, action, or choose solution, take action, follow up. Let's see the answer. So the correct answer is recognize problem, gather data, choose solution, action. 90% of our participants choose the correct answer. Let's see the leaderboard. Okay, once again we have Geraldine on first position in our leaderboard. Let's go for our question number 6. Graphic symbol, mark, emblem, word, or stylish name used to identify a company, organization, product, or brand. It is brand identity or brand logo. So the correct answer is brand logo. 65% chosen the correct answer. That's your leader. So we have Javelin Galezo on first position in our leaderboard. So our next question. A logo made up of a company or brand's initials. Is this lettermark or wordmark? So the correct answer is a logo made up of a company. Sorry, the correct answer is lettermark. 80% of our participants chosen the correct answer. Let's see the leaderboard. Okay, we have Caroline, Calizo, Amaguchi in first position in our leaderboard. Let's see our question number 8. The primary colors of light that are used in digital works, that is RGB or CMYK. The correct answer is RGB. 75% choose the correct answer. Let's see the leaderboard. We have Alex Xavier Alvarez on first position in our leaderboard. Question number 9. A type of color scheme that uses colors adjacent to each other on the color wheel. Is this complementary or analogous? So the correct answer is Analogous. 35% chose the correct answer. Let's see the leaderboard. We have Alex once again in first position in our leaderboard. Congratulations. Let's go to our question number 10, and this is our last question in this session. Arial is an example of sans serif letter form or serif letter form. So the correct answer is sans serif letter form. 80% of our participants choose the correct answer. Let's see who's going to place in our top 10. We have Alex Xavier Alvarez on first position in our leaderboard. Then we have Jameline Rivera on second position in our leaderboard. We have Joel Bernaso in third position. Then we have Charlene Calezo on fourth position. We have Crispiniano Di Candido on fifth position. And let's see the sixth number. Leah Fatunla placed on sixth. Then we have Kefa Rivera placed seven. We have Evelyn Booker placed eight. We have Ricky Arcmila on position number nine, and Lesson Mundiandi placed on 10. So congratulations to our top 10 winners. Thank you guys for participating in this session, and you get your certificates from our Facebook page. So now we will start our Q&A session with our speakers. So get ready to ask your question on today's topic based, and please mention our speaker's name in comment box. So get ready. Hello, sir. Welcome once again.
Hello.
So this is our question answer session, and our participants going to ask a question. So let's see who's going to ask first. My dear lovely audience, please ask your question in our comment box, and please address our speaker's name. We're waiting for your question, so please go to our comment box and ask your question to our honorable speaker.
Okay, so feel free to take advantage of this opportunity to ask some question related to design, branding, or anything related to brand management and more. So if you have some concerns or if you are interested as well, okay, to learn about branding, okay, feel free to ask questions so that I can answer your queries. Okay, Ashley, I think there are no more questions presented in the comments. So that just means
So,
to either they learn a lot from my paper, from the presentation, or they didn't learn something about my presentation. So I hope that's the point. Okay.
okay, we have some comments. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the insights. Um, the presentation was very excellent. So I think everyone pleased.
Okay, so since no one is actually asking questions, maybe I just want to say some of the important reminders as well. Okay, for creating a brand book. So as you all know, one of the most important steps in the brand building process is actually to create a brand book. And just as the name implies, okay, the brand book is actually a complete story of the brand and all the elements that go into it. Okay, so establishes strict guidelines on every aspect of how a company's brand will be managed. So this affects everything from how the logo can be used, the looks of their website, how social media is used, their advertisement, their product design, and so on. So a basic brand book, as I illustrated earlier, okay, should include an overview of brand values, okay, the brand persona, the core promise, okay, the drivers, okay, the logo specifications and examples on how to use it, okay, the logo mock-ups, okay, for the different uses, the color palette, um, the font style and typeface, okay, the general typography, okay, the image guidelines, photography guidelines, writing style, okay, and tone of voice, okay. So as much as possible, you can also include here the website guidelines, the brochure guidelines, specifications for signage and outdoor advertising, design layouts, okay. This is for prints and web-based projects, the store design, the architectural design as well. Okay, that relates to the brand identity asset. Okay, the social media guidelines, and finally, all those marketing collaterals. Okay, that you're gonna have in your business. Okay, so that would be it. Okay, so I hope you learned a lot. Okay, or
I,
at some point
sir,
you
I,
learned something about corporate branding.
sir, let me tell you, there's a question from our audience. That is why I'm waiting. So the question is from Christine. Uh, in branding, sir, what would make a product stand out other than the fonts and colors?
Okay, well, other defines in colors, since these are the basic elements for branding, okay, one of the things that makes the product stand out is their packaging. Remember, the packaging is comprises of three major levels. Okay, the primary packaging, the secondary, and the tertiary packaging. So the tertiary packaging generally represents the package that generally brings the product. Okay, at the end of consumer travel. So it could be a box, or it could be a shopping, let's say a paper bag. Okay, so the paper bag itself is considered as the tertiary packaging, and in order for you to stand out, okay, in order for your product to stand out, you have to make sure to embed, okay, the brand identity assets in the tertiary packaging, including the primary and secondary packaging, so that the brand will generally stand out and be highlighted. Remember, even most successful companies are utilizing a very unique packaging in order for their product to stand out, aside from looking at the color, the topography, and the logo. I hope I answered your question, Miss Dioy. Hello.
So no more question. Okay, there's a bit of a technical issue. Thank you so
Okay.
much,
So
sir.
again,
Thank you. Thank you for coming here and sharing your knowledge with our participants. Thank you.
okay. By the way, Crystal, thank you so much again for that question. I hope I give justice to your inquiries. Okay, so again, packaging is really one of the most important elements in branding as well for your product.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. So, dear audience, thank you for connected till the end of our program. Thank you so much. So, let me tell you about the certification process. And today's program name is Corporate Branding, a guide in developing brand identity assets. And the code is IGP 3424. Let me repeat once again. Let me repeat once again. The code is IGP3424, and without code, no one is eligible for certificates. And with code, you can claim your certificates anytime. And you can also get your certificates from our website address, and the address is www.eduigp.com. Let me repeat once again, www.eduigp.com. So don't forget to celebrate with us, and don't forget to share your happiness with us. Until then, stay happy, stay blessed, stay connected with IGP, and thanks for joining with us, and stay connected always with us. And I would like to thank our volunteer team who's working with IGP and helping our participants. So thank you, all of you from wherever you are. Thanks once again. Have a good day.